This is Travis Scott wearing an Elysium shirt in the Delresto Echoes video, his song with Beyonce. This is the 2013 dystopian sci-fi film Elysium. Elysium was produced by Simon Kinberg. This is Simon Kinberg at the final night of the Cowboy Carter tour in Las Vegas with Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya, the star of Nope, directed by Jordan Peele. Nope, an alien western about an alien called Jean Jacket that attacks anyone who dares to look at it, weaving in themes of spectacle, exploitation, and humanity's fixation on witnessing the extraordinary. This is Daniel Kaluuya in an orange hoodie riding a horse in Nope, chasing down the alien Jean Jacket. This is Beyonce's spaghetti western interlude where a man in an orange hoodie rides by in the background. Not to mention, the hoodie he wears says Crew in the movie Nope, and Beyonce's Crew in the Renaissance World Tour had Crew on the back of their sweatshirts and shirts. This is what Jean Jacket looks like at the beginning of the film Nope, like a classic UFO. This is zoomed in on the Ecos del Resto newspaper cover, which is the newspaper called The Echo. The headline reads, "America has a problem," and we see here UFOs that say, "You'll report to me." These UFOs come from the Memories Run Through My Wires interlude on the Renaissance World Tour where we see a dystopian scene, a cacophony of aliens and cowboys and spaceships. It also reminds me of this outfit, hypnotizing wheels for mind control and a UFO hat. This is Jean Jacket attacking in its full glory. It transforms from the classic UFO shape to an angelic monster. It unfurls into a Neon Genesis Evangelion-type creature, a design Jordan Peele has said was inspired by a classic anime show. In Nope, Jean Jacket will only attack if you look at it, which is why we see O.J. Haywood, played by Daniel Kaluuya, with reflectors on the back of his hoodie while he is being chased by the alien. Interestingly, the crew outfits that say Crew on the back of them on the Renaissance World Tour are also reflective, mirroring back to this Crew hoodie that Daniel Kaluuya is wearing with reflector eyes on the back. There's themes of reflecting away. Because remember, if you don't look at the alien, it will not consume you, because the alien lashes out because of the spectacle it's been created to be. Nope is about spectacle, our obsession with seeing and capturing the extraordinary. Peele's commentaries about social media, echo chambers, and our culture of constant consumption, chewing us up and spitting us out the way Jean Jacket literally eats those who consume it, and its mouth looks like this, a green square. Does this remind you of anything? It's a computer chip, because social media is a spectacle. We're obsessed with feeding, and what does it do to us? It chews us up and spits us out. The age of the internet and technology is what has created this spectacle culture. Remember this scene in the Memories Run Through My Wires interlude? Where do we find the computer chips? In motherboards. Beyonce is in the motherboard interlude looking like a motherboard. Furthermore, when Jean Jacket spits people out, it rains blood on their house. The red house in Nope echoes the red house in the Verizon commercial. And Emerald Haywood in Nope saying that they were filming a Verizon commercial is a strange coincidence. Now, there's even an article comparing the Iris Van Herpen dress that she made in her collection to Jean Jacket. Of course, this is the Iris Van Herpen dress that Beyonce wears during the Renaissance World Tour. She looks like Jean Jacket. So, we have Travis Scott wearing an Elysium shirt in the Ecos del Resto video from his album Utopia, the song with Beyonce where the cover is the Echo newspaper, and it has the headline "America has a problem" and UFOs on it that says "You'll report to me." The Echo newspaper outfit being the only one Beyonce didn't change the entire Cowboy Carter tour for America Has a Problem. Elysium, a dystopian sci-fi film about a race of elites who build a utopian space depriving those poorer on Earth without medical care, produced by Simon Kinberg, who was at the last stop of the Cowboy Carter tour with Daniel Kaluuya, star of Nope, directed by Jordan Peele, which stars an alien of consumption named Jean Jacket that drew comparisons to Iris Van Herpen dresses which Beyonce wore on the Renaissance tour, and whose mouth looks like a computer chip, which is the central part of a motherboard, which Beyonce embodies in the motherboard interlude. And in the Memories Run Through My Wire interlude, we see the UFOs, which we see on the cover of the Ecos del Resto cover, which is the Echo newspaper that reads the headline "America Has a Problem." Not to mention that the alien's name is Jean Jacket and Beyonce has done a collaboration with Levi's. Here's the question we're answering today. Why was Simon Kinberg at the final stop of the Cowboy Carter tour? How is Jordan Peele possibly involved? And what is the secret thread connecting it all? This deep dive is going to take you somewhere wild, but don't worry, I'm going to guide you through and out the other side of this rabbit hole, as always. If you're new here, hi, my name is Lore Breakers, and if you like deep art analysis, symbolism, and lore, you're in the right place. I break down the lore and hack into the mainframe of an artist's work to read between the lines and see what they're really trying to tell us. I focus primarily on Beyonce and her world building throughout Renaissance and Cowboy Carter, and I have a whole lot of other videos breaking down these worlds. I'm not employed by Parkwood, a part of Beyonce's family, and I'm definitely not Julius. This is my passion project, the way of shining a light on stories and deeper meanings in art you won't hear anywhere else. If this kind of deep, original exploration of art, symbolism, and lore speaks to you, subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell helps this channel grow. I'm getting so close to 10,000 subscribers, which is my goal for the end of the year. Help me get there so these videos can continue to reach more deep-thinking Hive members. I make all of these videos by myself. I do not have any help from anyone else. So, if you're already subscribed and want to support me even more, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/lorebreakers. Your tips directly fuel these videos, helping me reinvest in the channel and support the hours of research and the love that goes into every deep dive. Thanks to your generosity, I was able to get Canva Pro, which has been a huge help in collecting and organizing the hundreds of images I use for each video. This one, in particular, had over 200 images, so truly, thank you for making a real investment in helping me make these videos even better. And hey, if any of y'all work at Canva or know someone who works at Canva and they watch these videos, does Canva want to sponsor me? Might as well dream big, right? Okay, Hive, it's time to dive in. Part 1. Jordan Peele. This is the original Beyonce Jordan Peele Nope theory published by me back on February 16th, 2024. Yes, over a year ago. My theory began when I noticed this clip on the screen during the America Has a Problem interlude on the Renaissance tour. This clip is called The Horse in Motion. It is the first ever motion picture made of 16 frames. We know everything about the clip, the name of the man who shot it, the name of the man who commissioned the film, we even know the name of the horse, but we do not know the name of the black jockey riding the horse, leaving a crucial part of African-American history to be erased. Jordan Peele reimagines this clip in this moment by asking, what if the jockey's family were still alive today? From this question, the film Nope emerges, and Jordan Peele creates the fictional family called the Haywoods, siblings OJ and Emerald. They are the modern-day descendants of the man that was riding the horse in this real historic footage. The story of Nope follows the family legacy in Hollywood through their business, Haywood Hollywood Horses, spotlighting a forgotten black lineage in the film industry. The Haywood Hollywood Horses logo also reminds me of these Beyonce icons she's been using throughout Cowboy Carter and Renaissance, which is interesting to note. Beyonce brought back the Horse in Motion clip again during the Cowboy Carter Tour spaghetti western interlude. We see it here on these TV screens. And finally, during the last night of the Cowboy Carter Tour, she changed the visuals for the first time during the tour to show the Horse in Motion on the star floor screens during the spaghetti western section. Now, what's interesting is that Nope, the film, is based around the Horse in Motion, stars Daniel Kaluuya, and for the first time that we're seeing this clip of the Horse in Motion on the floor graphics of the last night of the Cowboy Carter Tour in Las Vegas, in attendance is none other than Daniel Kaluuya. Which brings me back to this scene from Nope where O.J. Haywood is riding a horse while being chased by the alien jean jacket wearing the orange sweatshirt that says crew. And this is the spaghetti western interlude where we just saw the Horse in Motion on the TV screens. We see in the background the man on the horse in the orange sweatshirt looking exactly like O.J. Haywood from Nope. We've got some strong Nope connections, but what about Jordan Peele's other films? This is where it starts to get kind of wild. Jordan Peele also has a film called Us, starring Lupita Nyong'o, about a family confronted and tormented by their doppelgangers or shadow twins. I'm not going to give away any spoilers of the film. I'm just covering what it's about, generally, and what inspired Jordan Peele to make it. So definitely go watch the film Us because it's amazing. Us was inspired by this 1961 episode of The Twilight Zone called Mirror Image, where a woman is waiting at a bus station and she becomes convinced that a sinister doppelganger from a parallel dimension is trying to replace her. She goes up to this baggage counter to check her bag, but the teller says she's already been there and her bags have been dropped. She goes to the bathroom and sees herself mirrored back in a bench, but when she goes out, the doppelganger twin is not there. There's a man trying to help her at the station, and she says that she believes there's a doppelganger from a parallel dimension. She specifically says the words parallel dimension, to which the man thinks she's crazy until he is later met with his own doppelganger. The bus station is a kind of liminal space. Jordan Peele is inspired by the Twilight Zone episode Mirror Image, and he writes Us. Now, are you ready for this? Jordan Peele loves the show The Twilight Zone so much, he did a remake of it in 2019 produced by none other than Simon Kinberg, the one we see here the last night of the Cowboy Carter Tour with Daniel Kaluuya, frequent collaborator of Jordan Peele, producer of Elysium, who we see Travis Scott wearing a shirt for in the Delresto Echoes video, the song with Beyonce. So what's going on? Well, remember I said the Twilight Zone episode Mirror Image is about a woman at a liminal space bus station station where strange things happen and doppelgangers appear, and we have multiple Beyoncés and so many different characters across Renaissance and Cowboy Carter. Maybe these characters are all part of the parallel universes based on different levels of evolution in Beyonce's soul. I think the gas station we've been seeing throughout some of the Cowboy Carter visuals is going to be one of these portals. Stick with me here. The woman is at a bus station in the mirror image episode, and we have these clips of Beyonce from the Renaissance Tour visualizers on a bus, and Blue was even driving the bus at one point. Think of the bus as kind of this interdimensional soul evolution machine or way of getting around through different dimensions, almost like a spaceship that can shuttle through different dimensions. The bus traveling through interludes on Renaissance reminded me of this interlude during the Cowboy Carter tour. Again, there's lights moving fast through a tunnel. I think that both of these are referencing the Stargate sequence from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, 2001: A Space Odyssey follows humanity's evolution and the evolution of a soul. Now, 2001: A Space Odyssey, directed by Stanley Kubrick, follows humanity's evolution and the evolution of a man's soul through the contact with these mysterious alien intelligences through these monoliths. On the space station in 2001: A Space Odyssey, there is an AI called HAL 9000. It's the shipboard AI controlling this Discovery 1 spacecraft. But HAL 9000 turns evil because his programming conflicts with the mission's secrecy, leading him to prioritize self-preservation over human life, and he becomes evil and starts offing the other astronauts on the ship, so the human astronaut Bowman has to turn HAL off, showing triumph of man over AI and machine. Now, Jordan Peele references HAL 9000 in the Twilight Zone trailers. This article even talks about this Easter egg. The monoliths are alien artifacts in 2001: A Space Odyssey placed at key points in human evolution, serving as catalysts that advance intelligence and guide humanity towards higher understanding. One of the monoliths is on the moon, and of course we have Beyonce here for Cowboy Carter on the moon. We also have Beyonce describing her Saint Noir perfume bottle as monolithic, which is a kind of strange choice of word.
I'm super excited. This is my Saint Noir unboxing, and it's finally here after years of work. Well, I wanted something to be monolithic.
Near the film's climax, 2001: A Space Odyssey, astronaut Dave Bowman approaches a massive black monolith near Jupiter and is suddenly pulled into a tunnel of swirling lights, shifting colors and alien landscapes. This is the Stargate sequence. The Stargate is essentially a cosmic wormhole or interdimensional gateway created by alien intelligence behind the monoliths, transporting Bowman to a real realm beyond human comprehension, where he ultimately transforms into this star child, the full soul evolution. So 2001: A Space Odyssey kind of uses this metaphor of space and space travel and evolution as an evolution for one's soul. We see the older astronaut Dave Bowman here in bed in front of this kind of monolith, but then he transforms into the Star Child. The Star Child is a symbolic representation of Dave Bowman's transcendence into a higher form of being after passing through the Stargate, through the evolutionary things that are guided by these monoliths. The Star Child is a new form of life and a symbol of humanity's potential for evolution and transcendence. The Star Child is what Beyonce is referencing in Black is King, which is following this young boy's evolution guided by his ancestors. He even shoots down to Earth like a comet from space, like the Star Child in Black is King. So this Simba, Black is King boy, is mirroring the same journey, and what Beyonce is referencing the same journey as in the 2001: A Space Odyssey. And also we have this Instagram story from Nadia Lee Cohen where she's actually watching the first opening scenes of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and she posts this on her stories. And this scene is actually what inspired the opening of Greta Gerwig's Barbie movie, which Beyonce obviously references Barbie in the Verizon commercial. So that's all a bunch of wild connections. Back to the bus that we see Beyonce driving. If Beyonce is in fact on some kind of transport that takes you through dimensions like the Stargate in 2001, maybe all the vehicles that she uses are interdimensional transport vehicles. The taxi, the bus, the Cadillacs. It all brings me back to this gas station where we see Travis Scott wearing the Elysium shirt. Remember, I think that these gas stations are kind of portals, like the bus stop is a portal in the mirror image episode. I'm gonna do another deep dive on the gas station, why we keep seeing Beyonce reference it, but I need to point something out. Remember this Hell gas station photo we randomly saw on Beyonce's website? Which is somehow obviously tied to this Nadia Lee Cohen Mason Margiela shoot where we see she uses the same Shell/Hell gas station. Plus the commercial has so many other motifs that Nadia Lee Cohen brought over to working with Beyonce. Well, we see Andrew McCosdy, Beyonce's longtime creative director who's worked with Parkwood for over a decade, wearing the Hell gas station shirt in the recent photo he posted on Instagram. The same Hell logo Beyonce once featured on her website. Nadia Lee Cohen's Margiela ad makes the shell reference more directly, but I think Beyonce and Andrew McCosdy took that and are layering in a different meaning with the Hell shell motif. If you've seen my Twin Peaks theory, which you definitely should watch it because it's a wild rabbit hole, you'll know that I believe Beyonce is referencing Twin Peaks and Laura Palmer's descent into Hell in the Red Room, which is also known as the Black Lodge. Here, Hell represents a duality of love. It's the light and dark side of love. And Beyonce echoes this lyric in Two Hands to Heaven, where she sings, "We partied in Venus and woke up in Mars." Venus is the planet of love, Mars is the planet of war. Together, they symbolize love's dual nature, just as explored in Twin Peaks. Venus is love and light, Mars is war and the dark side of love. Now, in the Black Lodge scene, we see the Venus de Medici statue. Venus is the goddess of love, underscoring the idea that Laura Palmer has fallen into the dark side of love in the Black Lodge, because in Twin Peaks there's a Black Lodge and a White Lodge, a good place and a bad place. In the same way, Beyonce, like Laura Palmer, is shown to be trapped in this Red Room Black Lodge space. Beyonce's in her own personal hell. Not to mention Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, the prequel to the original series, which explores Laura Palmer's descent into the dark side and reveals what happens in the days leading up to Dale Cooper finding her body wash up on the shore of Twin Peaks. The film's merch features a t-shirt with the exact same motif of Beyonce's Loewe bodysuit worn during the Virgo's Groove in the Renaissance tour, tying her visuals back to Laura's fall into the dark side of love. And Venus, of course, famously emerges from the shell in Botticelli's painting The Birth of Venus, a visual Beyonce directly referenced in Virgo's Groove on the Renaissance tour. Virgo is the maiden and the virgin, and here the imagery blends mythology, art, history, and Beyonce's performance into one symbolic thread. The shell ties it all together. Shell, hell, Venus, shell. Are you getting what I'm saying? Back to McCosdy's post. The caption says the summer of Wake It Up, which could be a stretch, but I think it's interesting because Rage Against the Machine's song that ends the 1999 film The Matrix is called Wake Up. If you haven't watched my very first theory, the Beyonce Matrix theory, you can go check that out because it goes into why this Vogue 2022 shoot was an Easter egg to Act 3 being rock and Matrix themed. And of course we had Beyonce sending a signed Renaissance to Mary Morello, who is Tom Morello's mother, and of course Tom Morello is the guitarist of Rage Against the Machine, whose song Wake Up ends the Matrix. Furthermore, the Hell gas station that appeared on Beyonce.com is in the same style as this one in the Travis Scott video. It has like an umbrella-like roof. So it seems that Beyonce saw Nadia Lee Cohen's Mason Margiela campaign where she uses this Hell shell gas station, but turned it into this kind of umbrella motif, a different kind of gas station, to go with the Ecos del Resto one. I think Ecos del Resto and Echoville, this is all tied together. Now, this also ties back to the gas station scene where, again, we see Travis Scott wearing the Elysium shirt. We see this woman in a trench coat suddenly turn into this glittery alien woman. It ties back to this glittery Beyonce we see right after Beyonce's driving the bus Stargate-like sequence in the Renaissance visual. So we see her on the bus, and then it ends with her in front of this painting, and she's covered in glitter, like this woman is covered in glitter in the Ecos del Resto. In essence, the visual threads between Beyonce's Renaissance and Cowboy Carter's tour, Jordan Peele's films Nope and Us, the Twilight Zone episode Mirror Image, and Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey suggest a shared fascination with evolution, parallel dimensions, and portals, whether it's the horse in motion, honoring forgotten Black history, liminal bus stations from Mirror Image, or some other cosmic Stargate transporting souls through transformation, using the metaphor of space and time travel as a metaphor of a soul's evolution and the different paths a soul can take, like in the film Everything Everywhere All at Once. Beyonce's recurring use of interdimensional vehicles and travel from buses to Cadillacs, along with the symbolic locations like the gas station, hints at a narrative of the soul evolution across universes, mirroring Jordan Peele and Kubrick's exploration of humanity's journey towards a higher consciousness. Part 2. Ecos del Resto. This is Travis Scott wearing an Elysium shirt in the Ecos del Resto video, a song featuring Beyonce. Elysium was produced by Simon Kinberg. Simon Kinberg was spotted at the last night of the Cowboy Carter tour with Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya, star of Nope and frequent collaborator of Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele, who loves The Twilight Zone so much that this episode mirror image inspired his movie Us and led him to do a remake of The Twilight Zone in 2019 produced by none other than Simon Kinberg, the same Simon Kinberg who was at the last night of the Cowboy Carter tour with Dano Kaluuya. Are you following? Travis Scott's album was called Utopia, and the film Elysium is a film about a utopia that's only accessible by elites. Simon Kinberg is the founder of Genre Films, also known as Kinberg Genre, a production company known for its work on films like X-Men, Days of Future Past, Deadpool, and The Martian. Under this banner, Simon Kinberg has been involved in projects that often explore themes of societal divides, technological advancements, and utopias/dystopias. Quick rundown of the plot of Elysium. Set in the year 2154, Elysium portrays a stark divide between the affluent, who reside on the luxurious space station called Elysium, which is also designed and modeled after the space station in 2001: The Space Odyssey. So, on Elysium, the impoverished masses left behind on this deteriorated Earth. The elites enjoy advanced medical technologies while the underprivileged suffer from disease and neglect. The narrative follows Max DaCosta, who's played by Matt Damon, and is a factory worker who, after a fatal accident, seeks to access Elysium's healing devices to save his life. So he's trying to get from the impoverished Earth to Elysium, the space station, to get medical care. Now, it's interesting that in Echoville Delresto, Bon Iver sings things about injections with your vaccines, etc. in the lyrics. There's these kind of medical themes and lyrics in the Echoville Delresto song, which is kind of strange, considering that Elysium is about a space station where you can get great medical care, and that's the whole point. Matt Damon is trying to get to the Elysium spaceship to get great care for this accident that he had on Earth, and he's trying to sneak onto Elysium. So Spider, who's a hacker in Los Angeles, runs a space shuttle that operates to smuggle people into Elysium to get medical care. Elysium Space Station, as I said, is a direct nod to the one in 2001: A Space Odyssey. And in the film, Max's journey becomes a fight for justice and equality, challenging the systemic oppression faced by Earth's inhabitants. The narrative is anchored by the tension between a utopia and an exile, illusion and truth, and liminal space where the erased and the visible meet. The concept of the utopia in Elysium and the Earth left behind really got me thinking about what Echoville Delresto the song is about. Travis Scott said in an interview with Billboard about his album Utopia that, quote, "Utopia is something that people feel is so far-fetched and out of reach, some perfect state of mind, but you create it yourself. There are people who achieve utopia every day. They may not be the richest people with the dopest cribs, but it's a utopia wherever they are, and that's the most you can have. With every album I live in these worlds in my mind. I'm trying to show people experiences where utopian things can exist, and you can enjoy yourself and have a good time. They can create energy that spews out magical things, new cures, new buildings, new avenues for people to move forward. People need to see that utopia is real." So again, he's saying the word new cures, and we have Bon Iver saying this lyric about vaccines. Interesting. Scott envisions utopia as a realm where these advancements lead to new cures, infrastructure, and opportunities for progress. His idea of a utopia reminds me a lot of the Renaissance House of Chrome, a place where Beyonce says we can always go to because Travis says that these utopias are in our minds. Beyonce says this House of Chrome is a place in her mind. Renaissance is kind of an instant utopia where we can let loose and free our souls. It's kind of why this album Renaissance goes one into the other. Each song flows perfectly. So in the length of the album, you can really escape into this House of Chrome. That was Beyonce's intention in making Renaissance a place for us to go, a utopia in our mind, like Travis Scott says utopia is about. But I really want to zero in on this Echoville Delresto cover in the America Has a Problem paper. Throughout Renaissance and Cowboy Carter, we see this Echo newspaper. The media has been a focus of the song America Has a Problem, from the news desk, the on-air sign, the reporter podium, all of that is media focus. Now, the focus on media reporting and surveillance states it's saying, in a utopia, who is entitled to what? It reminded me of this lyric that Beyonce sings on Echoville Delresto, "We filmin' live from the kingdom." Filming, as in the news. She's filming live from the kingdom. But I think that the filming live from the kingdom, I don't think the kingdom is a good place. Okay? Stick with me. The invented word Delresto evokes Latin or Romance language roots. Del meaning of the, and resto meaning the rest, the remainder. Together, the word Delresto is meaning from the rest, the place of those left behind. In Elysium, the rich escape to a sanitized paradise in the sky, while the masses rot on Earth. Delresto then represents this Earth, the site of exile, the people left behind, the rest left behind, abandonment, unhealed wounds. The subtitle Echoes, in Delresto Echoes, deepens this symbolism because in Greek mythology, Echo was cursed to only repeat the words of others, denied her own voice. Beyonce sings, filming live from the King Dumb, Dumb, Dumb. The word dumb can be a homophone for dumb, D-U-M-B, hinting at how consuming propaganda media and what they're giving you live from the kingdom, the news propaganda, dumbs us down. King dumb, 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 dumb. How, if we only listen to propaganda, we will be cursed like Echo, only to repeat the last words spoken to us. In fact, it's interesting because AI actually can't come up with original thoughts. The nature of AI is it can only give you back a regurgitation, a rearrangement of what it's been fed. That's why you have to train AI. That's what it's all for. So Beyonce, I think, is warning us not to be caught in this echo chamber that's filming live from the kingdom, dumbing us down, an environment in which a person encounters only these beliefs or opinions that coincide with their own, so that their existing views are reinforced and alternative ideas are not considered. This is what an echo chamber is. Also sings, "It's the echoes that I wait for," which I interpret as the voices of ancestors. This aligns perfectly with Black is King, which centers on listening to our predecessors' prayers and living out the dreams they envision for us. In a world dominated by technological advancements, AI, and is disconnected from spirit, maybe Beyonce's urging us to pause, to put down the media and social media messages, the kingdom of media that dumbs us down, the patriarchy, Silicon Valley bros harvesting our data, and instead listen backward to the echoes that come from our ancestors, the echoes that Beyonce is waiting for. Instead of looking to technology to go forward, look backward and look at our ancestors for guidance and internal intrinsic guidance to move us forward. These echoes connect us to the path to guide us to a new future. This is what Black is King is all about. He's listening to his ancestors to figure out how to go forward. And this is why she's remembering Black history, reclaiming back history in music, reclaiming dance, reclaiming country, potentially reclaiming rock, genres all founded by Black people. What if all of these Beyoncés are evolutions of herself? It's a multiverse of her soul, traveling through time to listen back at the remnants of the past, the ancestors of the past. For Beyoncé to make a country album, she's not looking at who's making country now. She's looking back at the history of country music, Linda Martell, looking back at the real founders of country to see which direction should she take the genre, okay? Echoville is what you make it. Heed the echoes of your ancestors or get lost in the echo chamber that's filming live from the kingdom. Do you understand what I'm saying? As Travis Scott says, you make your own utopia. And Beyonce's utopia is one that is grounded in the echoes from her ancestors. They are the ones who guide her. They are the ones who allowed her to make Renaissance House of Chrome. Ultimately, what I think is that Beyonce is making a sci-fi dystopian horror film through a Jordan Peelean lens. I'd always thought that Beyonce would be working with Jordan Peele given his history of doing horror films through the lens of the Black American experience, but I was still seeing this dystopian lens through Beyonce's visual. So the fact that Simon Kinberg, who works on these dystopian sci-fi films, has been at the Cowboy Carter Tour and has a history of working with Jordan Peele, I definitely think the both of them are going to be working with Beyonce on whatever this Echoville film is. And ultimately, I think the film is going to be about Beyonce's fears for a society who values a technocratic government and mass surveillance and echo chambers for convenience and doesn't think about how it takes away one's agency and artistic integrity if you just depend on these artificial intelligences to entertain us or create what we create. You know, she has said in the GQ interview that she heard a song that sounded so much like her, an AI song, that it scared her. I think that this film is going to be heeding a warning through the lens of horror, like Jordan Peele says, and the dystopianness of a 1984 or a Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. And I think she's doing it through the medium of film because a film can deliver a deep, nuanced, symbolic message that an album An album, I think, can, but I think a lot of people don't look at albums in that way. I think people analyze films and dig into what films are about way more than they do into albums. Unfortunately, albums and music are something that people don't dig into symbolically. They think it's all at face value, and I think that's what's frustrated to Beyonce. And I think the film Echoville is going to rock Hollywood, however she distributes is going to be groundbreaking, and it's going to, I think, get her an Oscar. That's my feeling. I think that's how she's going to get the Oscar. She's already halfway to the EGOT, and I think Echoville is going to be that for her. And that is all I have for you today. If you made it till the end of this video, please comment a alien and a cowboy hat emoji. Comment if you want to see a certain video. I'll always try and take suggestions if I can. I'm working on a lot of new big videos coming up, so make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell. And lastly, if you want to support my work, because again, I am not Julius or Parkwood, and I am not Beyonce, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/lorebreakers. Or you can pick up a new Lorebreakers Deep Dive Hive tote bag. All these things are linked below on YouTube or in my link in my TikTok. So with that said, until next time, love Lorebreakers.